Hi, this is Corncod1 of Nationalist News and Notes. The generation of 1968 and you. In recent weeks, I've been attempting to analyze the principles and objectives of the left in the Western world. A lot of those who claim to oppose the modern left think they understand what these movements are really about, but have a very superficial and outdated view of what their enemies stand for and the tactics they use to cement their power. They have very little understanding of what makes these people tick. In previous podcasts and videos, I looked at the formal ideology of the left since the 1920s. If you want to see my view on this matter, check out my podcast Paleo-Conservative on Steroids and the particular brief presentation, Are American Leftists Marxists or Something Else? Today I'm going to look at the current left from a more broadly sociological view. It's important to take a close look at the 60s generation, or what the Europeans call the generation of 1968. The politically active of that generation imbibed deeply from the Neo-Marxist cup. How did this come about? In the US at least, we can blame the man from Germany with the little mustache. When the National Socialists took over, many of the neo-Marxists of the Frankfurt School fled to the delightful island of Manhattan and managed to get work at institutions like Columbia University and the New School for Social Research. For various reasons, these men, Max Horkheimer, Theodor Adorno, Herbert Marcuse, Erich Fromm, and others, influenced the rising, discontented hippie generation near the end of their careers, and the American left, as we know it today, was born. In the U.S., there was a bit of a distance between the old Rooseveltian New Deal left and these new guys from Europe. The New Dealers were, in the main, a pragmatic bunch, one of the exceptions being Henry Wallace, FDR's agricultural secretary, a self-described progressive who was really more of a red. Interestingly, some of FDR's brains trust were actually admirers of Mussolini, but nobody talks about that these days. Meanwhile, in Western Europe, a European New Left was being born in the 60s and 70s, with theorists like Jean-Paul Sartre and Frantz Fanon pushing ideas similar to the transplanted Frankfurt Schoolers. There was also much in the way of cross-pollination across the Atlantic, with Marcuse being particularly celebrated by the Euro left. In the U.S., the transition between the New Deal left and the neo-Marxists was slow. Probably the main reason for this slowness was that there was a large chunk of Democrat voters who were urban white Catholics of the old school and simply not ready for feminism, abortion, and sexual liberation. Even a decade ago, socially conservative Democrats existed, but most of them vote Republican now. The generation of 1968 still exists. They long ago traded in their beaded jewelry, got haircuts, left the commune, and entered the corporate world. They have become rich and corrupt. Most of them are semi-retired and sit on corporate boards and such. This explains the triumph of the left in taking over corporate America. One question needs to be asked. Why is the left in such a hurry? Why the unprecedented fanaticism? After years of gradualism, they are getting old and want to see the final victory of their fevered utopian dream come to pass. The rise of Trumpism in the U.S. and the populist nationalist right in Europe has frightened the hell out of them, and they see these movements as an existential threat. Hence the hysteria. This is Corncod1 of Nationalist News and Notes, signing off.